Why do we fall? It's a question that echoes through every painful setback, every failure, every heartbreak. We fall not because we are weak, but because life is trying to teach us how to rise. Falling is not the end of the story. In fact, it's often the beginning of the most powerful chapters in our lives. Falling reveals who we truly are. We live in a world where strength is often measured by success, by how high you climb, by how much you win. But the truth is, the real measure of who you are is revealed not when you rise, but when you fall. Falling strips everything away. It removes the mask you wear for the world. It tears down the comfort zones, the false confidence, and the polished image. When you fall, when you lose, when you fail, when you hurt, you meet the rawest, truest version of yourself. And that moment, that's where everything changes. The illusion of perfection. We are taught to chase perfection, to keep everything together, to always look strong, but no one is perfect. Life doesn't work that way. When things are going well, it's easy to believe we've got it all figured out. We present a version of ourselves to the world that's polished, controlled, curated. But that's not the full story. That's the surface. And when you fall, when life hits you hard, that surface cracks. And in those cracks, your truth comes out. Your insecurities, your fears, your doubts. Your true mindset. This isn't a weakness, it's an opportunity. The fall forces you to ask the real questions. Who am I without the success, without the applause, without the comfort? What do I really believe about myself when everything is stripped away? Falling tests your character. You don't truly know someone until they go through something hard. You can tell a lot about a person not when they're winning, but when they're losing. Some people crumble. Some give up, but some dig deeper. Some look within and find something they never knew they had. Resilience, grit, heart, fire. Falling reveals your foundation. If your self-worth was built only on outcomes, you'll feel shattered. But if it was built on purpose, on values, on the fight within you, then the fall becomes a test, not a defeat. You discover if you're led by fear or by faith, by ego or by integrity, by pride or by perseverance. The mirror you can't avoid when you fall. There's no one else to blame. There's nowhere to run. You're forced to look in the mirror, and that mirror doesn't lie. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it hurts. But it's necessary, because in that moment, you begin to see your flaws, but also your strength. You see what needs to grow. You face your demons. You confront the habits that held you back. You get honest. This is the birthplace of transformation. People spend years avoiding themselves, pretending everything is okay. But a real fall, makes you face reality. And in doing so, it gives you the chance to change your life. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. The beauty of starting over. Falling feels like the end, but sometimes it's just a necessary reset. Think about it. When you fall, you're no longer running on autopilot. You're shaken, you're awake, you become more intentional, more mindful, more aware. You get to ask yourself, what really matters now? Who do I want to be? What do I want to fight for from this point on? You get to rebuild this time, not for the world, but for yourself. You shed the layers that weren't truly you. You rediscover your voice, your values, your mission. And though the fall hurts, the rise becomes powerful, purposeful, and personal. Growth lives in the fall. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Growth happens when you're forced to stretch, when you're pushed to your limit, when you fall and then decide not to stay down. That's when your real self emerges. That's when your courage shows. That's when your faith is tested. That's when you find the difference between wanting something and being willing to fight for it. And here's the truth. The version of you that rises from the fall is wiser, tougher, and more real than the version that never struggled. You may walk with a limp, but that limp tells a story of strength. You may carry some scars, but those scars prove you healed. You may not have it all figured out, but now you have something far more important: self-awareness and unshakable will. Don't fear the fall. Face it. Falling is not the enemy. Hiding from who you are, that's the real danger. Because the fall is where the facade drops. The fall is where the noise stops. The fall is where the truth comes out. And the truth, that's where the power is. When life knocks you down, don't just ask, why me? Ask, what is this fall revealing to me? Ask, who am I in this moment? And more importantly, who do I want to become now? Because you were never meant to stay down. You were meant to rise, wiser, stronger, realer, so don't be ashamed of your fall. Own it, learn from it, let it transform you, because falling doesn't destroy you, it defines you, and it reveals the unstoppable warrior that's been inside you all along. We don't ask for pain, we don't welcome it. We try to avoid it, outrun it, ignore it. But no matter who you are, pain finds you. Life doesn't spare anyone. Yet here's the truth no one tells you. Pain is a teacher. Pain is a builder. Pain is a mirror. And pain builds the strength we didn't know we had. Pain wakes us up. In comfort, we coast. In pain, we grow. When everything is smooth, we often forget what we're capable of. We forget to be grateful. We forget to fight. But pain wakes us up like nothing else can. It shakes us out of our routines and demands attention. It whispers, something needs to change. And sometimes it screams. Pain doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to reveal what's hidden inside you. That fire, that courage, that resilience you didn't know you had. You find it not when life is easy, but when life is breaking you. That's when the real you shows up. Strength is not built in the good times. Think about any muscle. It only grows through pressure, through tearing, through pain. The same is true of your mind, of your heart, of your soul. Pain puts weight on you, and you either collapse under it or rise with it. But the more you rise, the stronger you become. You start to notice that the things that used to break you no longer scare you. The problems that used to paralyze you now sharpen your thinking. The situations that used to drain you now fuel your power. That's not luck. That's strength earned through pain. Because when life puts you through fire and you come out the other side, you're not the same. You're refined, you're tougher. You've been tested and you passed. Pain changes the way you see yourself. Most people don't even realize how powerful they are until pain forces them to prove it. When you're in the middle of the storm, it feels like it's never going to end. You ask, why me? You doubt yourself. You wonder if you'll make it. But when you endure it, when you keep breathing, keep moving, keep fighting, you come out different. Suddenly, the voice in your head changes. You stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I made it through, that I can make it through anything. You start to trust yourself more. You start to respect yourself more. That's the gift of pain. It forces you to discover who you really are when there's nowhere to hide. And 99% of the time, you find someone stronger than you ever imagined. Pain builds empathy and purpose. Pain isn't just about you. What you go through can become someone else's survival guide. When you've been broken, you understand what it feels like to be on the floor. You understand what hopelessness tastes like. That experience creates empathy, and empathy is power. Because now you can lift others, you can guide others. You can speak not just with words, but with truth, with heart, with lived experience, and pain often points us toward our purpose. Think about the people who inspire the world. Almost all of them were shaped by pain. Their strength didn't come from perfect lives. It came from walking through darkness and choosing to become the light. You are stronger than the pain. Here's something most people don't hear enough. Just because it hurts doesn't mean you're weak. Just because you're struggling doesn't mean you're failing. And just because you feel broken doesn't mean you're defeated. Strength isn't about how loud you roar. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed when everything inside you wants to give up. Sometimes it's showing up anyway, crying, bleeding, shaking, but still standing. Strength is silent. Strength is personal, and the deepest strength. It's the kind that pain builds inside you. You don't have to thank pain. But you do have to respect it, because pain will either bury you or build you, and the choice is yours. Don't run from pain, rise through it. I know pain is hard, it's ugly, it's lonely, it feels unfair. But pain is also sacred, because it's the furnace that forges greatness. So don't run from it. Don't let it break you. Let it build you. Let it teach you what comfort never could. Let it sharpen your vision, deepen your strength, and ignite your purpose. Let it remind you that you are not fragile. You are not a victim. You are a fighter. You have strength you haven't even seen yet, and pain will show it to you. So stand tall in the fire. Let it burn the weakness. Let it awaken the warrior inside you. And when you rise, because you will rise, you'll realize that the pain wasn't your enemy. It was your builder. You are stronger than you think, and pain just proved it. Falling is part of life, it's part of growth, it's part of becoming who you were born to be. But what separates those who merely survive from those who transform is what they do after the fall. Anyone can fall. Everyone does. But rising with purpose now, that's what turns pain into power, failure into fuel, and setbacks into the start of something greater. The fall is not the end, it's the beginning. When life knocks you down, it's easy to think it's over. You feel the weight of disappointment, embarrassment, maybe even shame. But the truth is, falling doesn't mean you're finished. It means you're being prepared. You see, the fall creates space. It clears the path for something new. It strips away what's unnecessary, the ego, the distractions, the comfort, and makes room for clarity. The fall is a hard reset, and with that reset comes a question: now that I've fallen, who do I want to become? That's where purpose begins, not in the victory, but in the valley. Purpose is found in the pain. Pain is a doorway. Behind it is your purpose. Your real one, not the one others expected, not the one built only for applause, but the one forged in truth. You fall, you break, and in that moment, you feel like everything has been taken from you. But pain doesn't take your purpose, it often reveals it. Because when you're at your lowest, you start to ask deeper questions. Why am I here? What am I meant to do with what I've been through? How can I rise, not just for me, but for others who are where I was? Pain gives your rise meaning. It gives your next step direction. When you rise with purpose, you're no longer just trying to get back to where you were. You're reaching forward towards something higher, something bigger than just your comfort zone. Rise, but don't rush after the fall. There's pressure to bounce back fast, to prove you're okay, to act like nothing happened. But real rising, the kind that lasts, takes time. You don't rise just to look strong. You rise because you've done the work. You've faced yourself. You've healed the wounds. You've asked the hard questions. You've chosen growth over bitterness. Rising with purpose is intentional. It's not about speed, it's about direction. It's about why you're standing up again, not just how quickly you do it. So if you're in the fall right now, don't rush it. Breathe, reflect, learn, and when you're ready, rise with a reason. The comeback is the testimony. Your fall can be the part of your story you hide, or it can be the most powerful part you share. When you rise with purpose, your comeback becomes your testimony. It becomes your proof that failure isn't final, that wounds can become wisdom, that scars can shine. People may have seen your fall, but when they witness your rise, they'll see your strength. And more than that, they'll feel something stir in them. Because your story tells them if they can come back from that, maybe I can too. Purpose multiplies. When you rise with it, it doesn't just lift you, it lifts everyone watching. You are not who you were before the fall. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves after a fall is this: I just want to go back to how things used to be. But you're not meant to go back. You're meant to become someone new. The fall changed you, it exposed you, it taught you, it refined you. And that means the person who gets up isn't the same as the one who went down. You're wiser now, tougher, more awake. And when you rise with purpose, you don't return to the old path, you blaze a new one. One that's more aligned with who you really are. One that's guided not by pressure to prove something, but by a desire to live out your purpose fully. Rise with fire, rise with vision. So if you've fallen, if you've failed, been rejected, broken, lost, know this: it's not the fall that defines you. It's what you do next. Don't rise out of pride. Don't rise just to show people you can. Rise with purpose. Rise because there's more ahead for you. Rise because your story isn't done. Rise because someone out there needs the strength your struggle gave you. Rise because you are more than your lowest moment. This is not your ending. This is your awakening. Your purpose has been waiting for this moment, and now it's time to rise and answer the call. Why rising with purpose? After every fall, we all fall. We all stumble. We all face moments when life brings us to our knees, whether it's through failure, heartbreak, loss, or personal struggle. But the difference between those who stay down and those who rise is this: purpose. Rising after a fall is powerful, but rising with purpose, that's transformational. It's not just about standing back up. It's about standing with clarity, with vision, with new strength, and a reason to keep going. It's about deciding that the fall won't define you, the rise will. The fall isn't failure, it's formation. Falling is not the end of your story. It's part of the process. When you fall, it can feel like failure. Like everything you worked for has crumbled. But in truth, falling often removes what was weak so that what is strong can emerge. Every fall is a moment of disruption, a moment that invites you to reflect, to recenter, to redefine what truly matters. You learn lessons in the fall that you could never learn in the comfort of success. It teaches humility. It teaches patience. And most of all, it teaches you to find your why. That's the gift hidden inside every struggle, the invitation to rise with deeper intention. Don't just get back up wiser. Some people get knocked down and jump up quickly, not because they've healed, but because they're afraid of being seen as weak. But the goal isn't just to rise, it's to rise wiser. When you take the time to understand what the fall taught you, you don't just bounce back, you bounce forward, you grow, you adapt. You gain insight that elevates every step you take afterward. Ask yourself, what did this fall reveal about me? What do I need to change moving forward? How can this pain be turned into purpose? Don't waste the fall, use it. Let it strengthen your core, sharpen your mind, and deepen your resolve. Purpose turns setbacks into stepping stones. Purpose is what transforms your lowest moments into the beginning of your greatest rise. Without it, a fall can feel like the end. With it, the fall becomes a launch pad. When you rise with purpose, you don't just aim to get back to where you were, you aim to go beyond where you've ever been. Because now, your direction isn't fueled by ego or perfection, it's fueled by mission. By vision, by something greater than yourself. You're not just climbing again for applause. You're climbing because you know there is meaning in your journey. You're chasing something that matters. Let your rise be a beacon for others. The beauty of rising with purpose is that your comeback becomes more than personal, it becomes powerful for others. There's someone out there right now going through what you've been through. They're feeling what you felt. They're in the darkness you fought your way out of. When they see you rise, not bitter, but better, they see what's possible. Your story becomes proof that falling isn't final. That wounds can heal, that broken pieces can be rebuilt into something even stronger. So don't hide your scars. Don't be ashamed of the fall. Share your journey. Use it. Let it shine so others can find their way out too. The rise is where you discover who you truly are. You find out who you really are, not in the fall, but in the rise. When everything inside you says stay down, but your spirit says get up. That's where character is born. That's where strength is revealed. That's where purpose ignites. And you may rise slowly. You may rise with a limp. You may rise still healing, but the fact that you rise at all makes you unstoppable. You are not who you were before the fall. You're more. You're stronger, you're real. And from this moment on, you don't rise to prove anything, you rise because your life has meaning, and you refuse to let pain have the final word. Fall 7 times, rise 8 with purpose, you will fall again. That's life, but every time you do, remember this, it's not about avoiding the fall. It's about making every rise count. Don't just get back up out of routine. Get back up with a reason, with passion, with clarity. Rise with the fire to change your life and maybe even change the lives of others. Rise with a heart that's been broken but refuses to give up. Rise knowing that your purpose is greater than your pain because you weren't meant to stay down. You were meant to rise again and again with purpose, with power, and with unshakable faith that your best chapters are still ahead. Why your comeback can inspire the world. Everyone loves a success story, but the ones that stay with us, the ones that move us, the ones that change us, those are the comeback stories. Not the stories of perfection. Not the stories of ease, but the stories of people who were broken, lost, doubted, counted out, and still rose again. Your comeback has that power. It can spark hope in the hopeless. It can breathe life into the tired. It can remind the world that pain isn't the end, it's the beginning of something greater. Failure isn't the final chapter. Maybe you've fallen. Maybe you've failed publicly, painfully. Maybe you've been so low that you stopped believing in yourself. But hear this, failure is not final, and falling is not the end. You are not defined by your worst day. You are defined by what you do after that day. That's what the world remembers. That's what becomes your legacy. You see, the world isn't inspired by how you never fell. It's inspired by how you kept rising, how you refused to let the fall have the last word. So whatever knocked you down, whatever broke you, it's not your ending, it's your turning point. Your story is someone's survival guide. We often think we need to be perfect to inspire others, that we have to be fully healed, fully ready, or fully successful before we can be an example. But people don't relate to perfection, they relate to real. When you speak honestly about your struggle, your setbacks, your lowest points, and show how you kept going, that's what truly changes lives. Because someone right now is in the same darkness you were in. They're feeling the same doubt, the same fear, the same heartbreak. And when they see you rise, they see what's possible for them. Your comeback becomes a bridge for someone else to cross. Your pain becomes a torch they can follow through their own night. Your scars become a map that leads others to healing. So don't underestimate your story. It matters more than you know. The comeback builds who you really are. Your comeback won't just inspire others, it will transform you. Because when you fight your way back from failure, heartbreak, or defeat, you become someone different, someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more grounded. You build resilience you didn't know you had. You develop grit that no book or class can teach. You discover a version of yourself that only shows up in the fire, and that version is unbreakable. When you rise from what was meant to destroy you, you carry a quiet power. Not arrogance but certainty, not loud confidence but deep conviction. You walk differently, you think differently, you lead differently. The comeback shapes the leader, the champion, the mentor you were always meant to be. Use your pain as a platform. Most people try to hide their pain. They bury their failures, their scars, their struggles. But you can choose something different. You can choose to turn your pain into your platform. Share what you've learned. Speak about what you've overcome. Stand tall in what you've survived. That honesty, that vulnerability is what connects people to you. And that connection is where the impact happens. Because when people see you now strong, focused, driven, and then hear where you came from, they don't just admire you, they believe in themselves more. They say, if they can rise from that, I can rise too. That's how your comeback inspires the world. The world needs your light. Every single person has a purpose, a message, a light. But that light shines the brightest after it's been through darkness. Your glow is more powerful after the storm. Your voice is more impactful after the silence. Your strength is more believable after the breaking. Don't wait until everything is perfect. Don't wait until you feel ready. The world doesn't need another perfect person pretending everything is fine. The world needs you raw, real, and rising. The world needs your scars, your fight, your truth. Because when you walk into a room, when you speak, when you lead, when you show up, you carry proof that healing is possible. That success after failure is real. That comebacks are not only for move, is there for anyone brave enough to rise. Rise and let the world watch. So here's the truth. Your comeback doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be flashy. It doesn't need to go viral. It just needs to be real. Rise even if your legs shake. Speak even if your voice trembles. Keep going even if the road is still rough. Because someone, somewhere is watching, and your story might be the one thing that keeps them going. So rise, not just for yourself, rise for them. Rise because your comeback can be the spark that lights a fire in a generation. Rise because your voice, your strength, your story can inspire the world, and it starts now with this moment, with this decision to get back up with fire, with purpose, and with the heart of a warrior who refuses to stay down. The world is waiting for your comeback. Make it unforgettable. Falling doesn't define you, rising does. We all fall. Every human being who has ever tried, dared, dreamed, or believed has fallen. You've fallen. I've fallen. Some falls were private, some were painfully public, some were expected. Others came out of nowhere and shattered everything we thought we were. But here's the truth the world doesn't say loud enough. Falling doesn't define you, rising does. What defines you is not the moment you hit the ground. It's the decision you make while you're there. You're not the fall, you're the fighter who gets up when we fall. The voices come. You failed. You're weak. You'll never be the same again. And if we listen to them too long, we start to believe that our failure is our identity, that the fall is who we are, but that is a lie. You are not the fall. You are the fighter who decides to get back up even when it hurts, even when it's hard, even when no one is clapping for you. The fall may have knocked you down, but it didn't take your worth, your strength, or your future. You still hold the pen. You still choose the next chapter. And it's that choice, the choice to rise, that defines who you are. Falling is inevitable. Staying down is a choice. Let's get one thing straight. Falling is part of life. If you're living with courage, if you're stepping out of your comfort zone, if you're chasing something meaningful, you will fall. You'll make mistakes. You'll take risks that don't work. You'll face setbacks that sting. That's not weakness. That's part of becoming strong. Falling is human, but staying down, that's a decision. And the world is full of people who gave up because they thought falling meant they weren't good enough. Don't be one of them. The most successful people you admire, they've failed more times than you know. The difference is they didn't quit. They didn't let the fall define the end. They made it the middle of a greater comeback story, and so can you. Every rise makes you stronger than before. Something powerful happens when you rise after a fall. You gain clarity, you gain wisdom, you gain toughness, you understand things you couldn't see from the top. Pain becomes a teacher, struggle becomes your sculptor. Every scar becomes proof that you've been tested and you chose to fight through it. Rising isn't just about recovery, it's about transformation. You don't just go back to who you were, you become someone stronger than you've ever been. So don't rise just to move on. Rise with purpose. Rise with fire. Rise because there's more ahead for you, and you refuse to let this moment stop your future. Your rise can raise others. One of the greatest truths about falling and rising is this. Your rise doesn't just serve you, it serves others. You may feel like your struggle is yours alone, but people are watching. Someone is inspired by how you carry your pain. Someone finds strength in your resilience. Someone sees hope in your healing. When you rise, you give others permission to rise too. That's what makes your story so powerful. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real, it's raw. It's proof that comebacks are possible. That even when life breaks you, you can rebuild. Even when the dream falls apart, you can rise with a new one, bigger, bolder, more meaningful. So don't hide your fall. Don't be ashamed of the struggle. Own it. Share it. Use it. Let your rise be the reason someone else chooses not to give up. The fall isn't the end, it's the beginning of the rise. Sometimes falling feels like the death of a dream, but often it's the birth of a new beginning, a better you, a clearer vision, a deeper strength. It's in the darkness that the stars shine brightest, and it's in your lowest moments that the light inside you can finally show its power. The fall isn't there to break you, it's there to wake you, to shake you, to shape you into the person you were always meant to become. So if you're on the ground right now, take a breath. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to take one step, then another, and then another. That's how rising begins. Define yourself by the rise. You are not your worst mistake. You are not the failure. You are not the heartbreak, the loss, the rejection. You are the one who keeps showing up. You are the one who chooses strength in the face of fear. You are the one who rises again and again and again. That's your power. That's your identity. That's your truth. Falling doesn't define you. Rising does. So rise with fire. Rise with heart. Rise for everything you believe in. And when people ask what shaped you, tell them this: I fell, but I refused to stay there. I rose, and that's who I am.